Hello. Thank you for coming to watch Speak Your Truth Conversations. I'm Helen, Authentic Discovery, and this week's conversation is with the lovely Shanta. So, Shanta, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Shanta from Shanta Darling Coaching. I am a life coach who help people with their confidence.
Okay. I think my internet has created a freeze on you, Shanta. I'm hoping that you can hear me. The last thing I heard you say was that you help people with their confidence. I don't know if you added more to that because you froze.
I did. I mentioned that I'm also a foster parent as well.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Cool. In terms of the coaching that you just mentioned, what took you down this specific route of confidence?
Yeah, I think for me, it was because I'd lost my confidence completely many times throughout the course of my early teens to mid 30s. And I developed unhealthy attachments to people, sort of put my happiness in their confidence rather than develop my own, sort of wear them like a bit of a shell. And it came to a point where I thought, enough's enough, let's start building myself up. Let's start standing on my own feet and relying on myself a little bit more and building up my resilience from there. And that sort of started me off down the path.
Okay, that's cool. Um, I, uh, I'm also going to ask you as well because you said about the foster parenting. What took you to that, and how is that?
Okay, so that was a bit of left field for most people because I didn't really have much interaction with children and had no particular desire to work with children until a few years ago. But my reason is that it always upset me when I used to find out about siblings getting split up and not being able to live together. So I thought if I could create any space for siblings to remain together, that would be ideal for me. It really would, because I looked at the relationship I had with my siblings growing up, and to think that that bond could be broken and maybe never ever repaired again, that was just too much for me. And in the end, I thought, let's see what I can do, just do my little bit.
And are you enjoying it?
Yes, most of the time, yeah.
So is it sibling groups that you particularly specialise in then? Is that what's happening?
Not yet, but that's what I'm working towards.
Okay. All things in their time and season.
Exactly.
Have you found your coaching skills? Has there been a mingling of coaching skills with the foster care? Has one influenced the other, or how are they?
That has definitely helped. It's definitely helped me connect with the children, and also with some of the training that I've done, it's helped me understand certain behaviours. So once you understand why something happens, it makes it easier when it does actually happen. And so I can respond accordingly, and
I'm going to ask you to expand on that. Do you have an example at all?
Oh gosh, like for example, what's a good example is if you sort of recognise I'm able to separate the behaviour from the person. So that the child remains a child, and the behaviour is the communication and the frustration and all the anger and everything else that goes on. But the child remains a child, so I can see them as two separate entities, not just as a bad child or a child who's acting out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. So what inspires you, Shanta?
Oh, what inspires me? You know what? What inspires me is people who just do what is right for them. And people who know what's right for them in the first place.
That's a journey in itself.
Because that is a journey in itself, and not everybody completes that journey or even starts it. Yeah. So, and it's so much lighter when you're in the right space. And when I see people who are not just winning and at the top of the game, but people who are doing things that really make them happy, regardless of what everyone else around them thinks or says about it.
I can identify with that.
Yeah. So that I love people who can do that, and think, you know what, I've got this big house, this big job, and all this money, I'm going to give it all up and live in the caravan because that's what makes me happy, in the field in the middle of nowhere. I like those people. They inspire me.
Okay, cool. And do you know many of those kind of people? Are you fortunate enough to have actually met some?
I've met some, but I don't. I've met some in transit. You tend to meet them in transit, so they come into your life for a period, and then move on and do their thing. And I've kept in touch with a couple of people I've met on the way, but generally in life, I've not met too many people like that, and I think that's part of what inspires me about them.
Yeah, because a lot of people have, we tend to, and I think that this relates something to your confidence, to that desire for confidence, and because it takes an element of confidence to live your life as opposed to living someone else's. It takes an element
Absolutely.
It takes a bit more than an element of confidence, but there has to be something quite deep rooted in yourself that you can get to that point of view, like, well, actually, this is my life, you know, and if I'm not living it, who's going to live it for me? It's actually one of the lines that I kind of ask people: if you're not going to live your life, who do you think is going to live it for you? Because they're not. So, do you feel that you are now in that place as well? Are you a person that you are living?
I am. I really am. I feel so much happier, so much lighter at the moment, and I just think, why didn't I do this years ago? But it wouldn't have worked years ago because I wasn't the right person.
You wasn't the right person. That's a statement. You wasn't the right person, or you wasn't in the right place, or the right thing. Did you?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't the right person.
Okay, what do you
I,
mean by you wasn't the right person? So is
so,
there?
so, sorry, carry on. I interrupted you.
No, I kind of was wondering what you meant by I wasn't the right person, because that's something about you, as opposed to I hadn't learned enough. I'm trying to expand on not being the right person when you are you. I'm trying to. Can you explain what you mean by that so I can get a better understanding of that?
Yeah. So my dreams and my goals 10 years ago look nothing like they do now. Nothing at all. So I have had to grow into this space. And while I was growing, I didn't understand that this was the space I was going to be occupying at the time. Because
Okay.
sometimes you grow, you shed your skin, you grow, you shed your skin, but until you come out of your skin, you're not quite sure where you're coming out into. And
Okay, so if I am understanding this correctly, what you say, not the right person, to me, I would have probably say it would probably sound like I hadn't yet gained and learnt all I needed to learn to be me, to be fully.
yeah,
And I can see, because I didn't get that. I couldn't.
okay.
So I
And
kind of.
can I also add that 10 years ago, I thought I was me, but I was me for then and not me for now.
Yeah, I think that's something that's really important for people to get as well. Is that, I mean, I call myself a life in progress. I am a life in progress, and so I'm constantly. I hope it's my intention to constantly learning, constantly be growing into. And I've said it. This is about the fifth time I've said this today because I was interviewed earlier on for someone. I'm trying to live the life that I want to create. I'm living and creating the life that I want, which is a life from a place of love and that kind of thing. And this has been a lifelong thing for me, but I kind of get that I've still got things to learn. And the recent events in America have shown me that there's still a distance from me into and how I respond to things rather than reacting to things, because that caused reactions as opposed to responses. And very painful. But I think it's important for people to, going back to what you were saying, I think people don't realise that if you can change, if you don't like what's going on, you have the power to change that. And I think people get very stuck in familial or societal expectations of who they want to be, of who they should be, rather than even taking a moment to think, hang on a second, I was brought up, I went to school to ask me when I was 15 what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I wasn't quite aware that the rest of my life would be another 60 odd years. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of made choices without really having a full amount of awareness. And then you're on these paths of life, and you just think that that's where you should be and where you have to be. And so it's really kind of inspiring to hear you say, that you wasn't that person then, and the shedding of the skin, the constant evolution of the self, and finding things about yourself and creating new dreams. Actually, yeah, that was my dream, but that's changed, and that's okay. It's okay to change your dreams. I mean, there's an old saying that, you know, women change their minds a lot, but I think that's a good thing. And if we all can kind of get to that point where changing our minds, you know, and people like to persecute you for who you were rather than who
Yes.
you are, and
Yeah.
like, and especially if you've lived away from home, you live away from home, and that informs and becomes a part of you. And then when you go back home, people just want you to fit straight back into where you were. Whereas and I think that if you can have that mindset of whether you're in one place all the time, you can still come out of that and still stay in that place, but you can be, because you change, you're different, your outlook is different.
It's like we never question the changing of the seasons with the weather and nature, yet we don't expect ourselves to have such changing seasons. And we don't recognize our own changing seasons. So we try to hang on to winter when it's summer, and spring when it's, you know, when we're holding on to the wrong things, and really we need to let go and stop burning our hands.
Yeah. We need to be autumn and allow ourselves to release our leaves, the things that no longer serve us, and just go through. I think that's something that I was talking with somebody the other day, and I had to encourage them that, you know, summer's a great time for you to have your winter. Oh, sorry, I didn't turn my camera. Summer is a great time for you to have your winter and allow what you've learned over the winter, and the changes that you know, the things that you've wanted to bring into your life. It's a good time to rest in summer and have that winter, have that rest, and and allow time to embody all of the stuff and the work. I think because again, we live in this fast-paced life. There's this drive to, especially when you start going down the personal development route. Well, you've learned this, you've learned this, you've learned this, you've learned this. You've got to learn, you've got to learn, you've got to learn. And it's like, hang on a second, you know, I need to have my winter and allow the nutrients of whatever I've been doing.
Absolutely.
Allow myself to actually, even within the learning, to shed some of what actually that doesn't resonate with me. That does, and allow yourself that time to grow and to, you know, if we were bodybuilding, everybody builder knows you do the work, you break down your muscles and you allow your muscles to rest so that they can rebuild. But there sometimes is a push within the personal development, whether it's on a spiritual level, whatever level it's on, you just have to keep firing forward. Did you hear a little person?
No, I heard something, and I just
you just turned, and it was just such a like little person alert, little person alert. So
the little person is secure.
But there is this kind of, there is this just such a, let's just fire on and keep growing, keep tearing back your layers, and you become very vulnerable and very naked, and you kind of, and if no one is saying to you, slow down, allow yourself time to grow, allow yourself time for the food that you have given yourself, for all of the stuff that you have fed yourself. Allow your body, mind and soul to process that, to digest it, to come into it, and to learn and to grow with it. I think it's and that you can do that. I think that's one of the things that I would say was missing from some of this, let's all become this or let's all become that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just you need to find your space, find who you are first. You need to sort of find the gap that's been holding you back. And once you find it, you can mind it and you can tend to it and you can step over it. But you've got to find it first. You can't just there's lots of substitution going on, but not a lot of real healing. So we need some real healing and real processing that needs to go on.
Yeah.
And you need time to sit down and sit in it and just let it be. And because everything's moving so fast.
You need confidence to be able to say that as well. You know, there is a real element of having that confidence to say, I need to just put the brakes on. I need to just, you know, allow myself time to get across that and process.
Yeah.
And
you need to be able to bounce as well.
Yeah, I think within, once you start on that development, that exploration of self, that you have to be, the confidence does come as you start to do that. That is the beginning of you saying, I'm gonna, build myself up. I'm gonna become confident. I'm not gonna, because low self-esteem keeps people, I'm not worthy. I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not worth, they just cover my head. And I think that when you first start and you are kind of firing forward, your confidence is at such, but then you can become a bit. Is there such a thing as overconfident? Actually, I'm going to ask you that. Do you think there is such a thing as overconfident? I'm just thinking of somebody keep firing through, going, "I can handle it. I can handle it."
Overconfident, but then who's judging that overconfidence? It's not the person who's had the confidence, is it? It's someone else.
Yeah, I just wondered whether it existed, whether you become, because you're firing ahead on all cylinders, and you're just not allowing yourself time to, because you're so confident and you're just firing ahead, and at some point you're going to hit that, like
this is why you have to have bounceability, because you can have all the confidence in the world, but you are going to fall over at some time. You need to be able to bounce back up from that.
Bounceability.
Yeah,
because I've never heard that word before. I like that, bounceability.
Because one thing I know for certain is that when I fall, I will bounce back up, and it might not be straight away, it might not be in the same way, but my underlying belief is no matter how hard I fall or from what height or for how long, I know it will all be all right in the end. So,
and is that confidence, or is that a lived experience that you've shown? Is it faith in the unknown? Where does that bounceability is absolutely going to happen come from? Where would you root that?
I think it's a combination of experience, hope, beliefs, and everything else, like all your past experiences. Because if you've done something once, you know how to do it again, even if you choose not to, but you know how to do it again. Like, I'm trying to give an example. I can't think of a good example. I'll give an example. In 2017, I sold everything, moved away, went on an adventure. It did not work out at all. I did not have a plan B. Sold my house, no car, everything. Everything I owned was in 7 boxes in a storage unit.
Wow.
So it had to work. So I burnt all my bridges, and it did not work out at all. So when I came back, I had nowhere to live. I had nothing.
Wow.
Spent my money, the lot. And I was just like, okay, what do I do now? And I just had to sit down for a few weeks and think, right, how do I come back from this? How do I make this work? The first thing is, I need a roof over my head. Where can I stay for a few nights, few weeks, this, that, and the other? Okay, I need some money. Okay, let's get some coaching clients in. Got some clients in, and then from there, just built and built and built and built on it. And then I made a decision. Like, sometimes after a fall or something goes wrong, you automatically turn back to what you know, and it might not be the best thing for you. Yeah, so in terms of work at the time, I went back to the industry, which I knew it like the back of my hand, but I didn't like it anymore, but I still went back there because it was what I knew. And then one day I just thought, you know what, I'm done with all of this. And I just quit my job. I was on holiday at the time. I quit my job, emailed my boss, said, when I come back, I'll drop you the car back and the laptop, and I'm done. Had nothing lined up, no savings, no nothing, no safety net. And then I thought, right, what do I actually want to do? Let's sit down, let's think about it, rather than jump into another bad situation. So I had to ride a rough storm for about 3 months, and then everything started to fall into place.
That takes a level of confidence as well, and as you said, that lived experience. And I think when you were talking, what came to mind was something that I've seen and I've said, you have survived absolutely everything that life has ever thrown at you, because you're here now.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep,
and I think we sometimes think, however we got through it, however we managed it, and whichever route we took to get to it, you are here now. So you have survived it. Whatever it was, you have survived it. How you've survived it, whether you're intact or not, or whether you got a broke down this or a broke down that or whatever, is questionable. But you have survived it, and you can survive, and you are far more resilient than you give yourself credit for. And I think that's sometimes I don't know whether you found this in terms of working with clients when you're working and build and working towards that increase in confidence, that to actually show them what they've already achieved. You know, are you aware that you're actually here? You had the confidence, you knew that you wanted to come here. You knew, you know, there's so many things that you can already sort of highlight, that you have more than you think you do. And I think that's one of the things, again, through whether it's family, society, whatever it is that you've been fed that you haven't, just stop, just take a moment, have a breath, and just see what you have achieved and what you have done. And the fact that you're sitting here in front of me right now, you know,
Yeah.
I think that that's something that clients people very rarely assess, where that what they've overcome to be where they are.
It's all to do with what people see as success and achievement. Because if you say to someone, write down the last 20 things you achieved, then think of all these big things. I can only think of 5. Actually, for me, an achievement is to eat my dinner and not get food on my top. That's a major achievement, because you gotta look at this. Everything's built on something tiny. You know, everything's built on something small.
As you were saying, you were like, you said you sat down and you were like, well, and you were very kind of logical. What do I need? I need a roof over my head. So you didn't look at a massive picture. You didn't become overwhelmed by, I've got to achieve this. And I think that's the other thing, people tend to think, that's my dream and I've got to achieve that. And it's, no, actually, you know, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? How do you climb a mountain one step at a time? So what's the first step? And I think that that's important for people to know, that that might be where you want to end up and where you want to go, but let's just come back and bring it into the tiny steps. What did you achieve? I woke up, I got out of bed. You know what I mean? I was able to see. I suppose because I'm a great believer in, as soon as you open your eyes, I just open my eyes, and I'm just so overwhelmed with how blessed I am. I open my eyes, and because I sleep with the curtains open, I just look out and see the sunlight in this beautiful yellow kind of hitting the trees, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, thank you. You know, and I'm just like, yes, I live here, so I achieved getting here to be able to open my eyes and see that. So, but it is just the tiny steps, and again, it's that.
It's the tiny steps. It's the having gratitude and being thankful for what you have now, and stop looking for the next best thing. It's like living in the present everyone talks about living in the present moment. It's so hard to do if you're not used to doing it. It's so hard.
They call it a practice, and it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, but if you can focus on the next hour, and then the next hour, then the next hour, then the next day, and then you know, just little tiny bits. So in this last hour, what I've achieved is having 2 children asleep in bed on time. And I have been trying for that for so long, and it's just that for me, that's my major win of today. You know, I'm happy with that.
It is. That is an achievement. 2 children asleep in one go. Wow, go for it.
And then it's being able to appreciate the rain. So I went for a little walk. It wasn't far, just around the outside with no shoes on in the rain, just to sort of connect and appreciate it. And
you're glowing, Shanta. You seem to be glowing in your life right now.
I'm in the right space.
So
I'm in the right space. I'm in the right space.
Cool.
Sorry.
Do you live? You talked about living in the moment. Are you able, and being in the right space? Do you find it difficult to allow yourself a space for some adverse things? Or do you allow your space? Do you allow that? Do you give yourself? Are you kind to yourself in allowing whatever's happening, or are you?
I am kind to myself. I have to be kind to myself, because for many years I used to just put everything in a locker. All my emotional stuff I didn't want to deal with, I'd put it away and not look at it at all. It just didn't exist. But then back in 2017, when my sister was sick and died, when I realised that things weren't going the way we thought they were, I just thought, you know what, I need to open that door now and start letting bits in and visiting the emotion, and allow myself to feel it before everything all happened, because I thought there's too much in there for it to come at me in one go.
So you decided to take control of it?
Yeah, so I took control of the situation, and then through visualization and meditation, and I just allow things to be. So if my day's been an absolute car wreck and everything's going wrong, then so be it, because once I go to sleep I reset and tomorrow's the next day.
Very true.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the things is that we can look at something can happen in a day and we can say I've had a shit day, when actually that happened in 1 hour and you dealt with it in about 3 or 4, and there's 24 hours in a day. So, you know, changing that mindset.
And also there's this mindset of, well, if you're having a bad moment, just you know, allow yourself 10 minutes and get back on it. Absolute rubbish. If you're having a bad day, enjoy your bad day. Don't keep trying to make it good, because you make yourself feel worse. Just have a bad day and be done with it.
I have a friend, and this is going back many years. She turned around to me and she was in the depths of it, and I was like, oh, you know, yeah. Okay. And she was like, look, she goes, when I'm happy, she goes, I'm the happiest person out there. She said, and I have no problem that when I'm sad, I'm the saddest person there as well. She goes, I'm just wherever, you know. And I just thought, isn't that right? You know, we spend so much time kind of trying to do this, and it was kind of one of those conversations that sort of made me think, yeah, that's right, you know, be with whatever it is that's going on. And if you're having...
Let it come, feel it, experience it, and then wave it off. Don't hang on to it, but let it in.
So I've got some more questions. How have you been over this? Because how have your plans changed over this exceptional lockdowny kind of period? What have you gained about yourself? What have you learned about yourself over this time, this last, if you say?
I've learned that I have a lot of capacity, and I've learned that no matter how intense things get, laughter will always carry me through. So as long as I can laugh, my day's good. And sometimes I just make myself laugh. Literally, I just sit there, talk to my brother, we send jokes and stuff like that. Laughter for me is everything. But it has been strange times, but for me, the good thing is the slower pace. It slowed things right the way down, because ordinarily my days can be quite hectic. People think I just sit at home all day watching daytime TV, drinking tea, and it's nothing like that. You know, there's tons of admin, there's tons of meetings, and these things still go on even during this lockdown period. But I just know now that once we're able to mix and mingle as we did before, if that ever happens, I will be more selective about who I mix and mingle with and be more mindful of my time.
So your time has become more precious to you?
Yeah, because I used to feel obliged to see everyone who wanted to see me, and that's not going to be the case no more.
So now it's who you want to see? Yes,
definitely. Okay. So if I turn down your invitation, it's nothing personal, I just don't want to do it.
It's simple though.
Yeah.
Is there a moment in your life, like if I asked you that you will never forget, is there something that happened or a moment of something that you will never ever forget? Most people have many, but is there one?
I do have many. I'm trying to narrow it down to one. Yeah. So this is going back to 2016, and it was a few months before in fact, it was 2 months before my nan died. And I remember her saying to me, there's always a price to pay in life. She said, there's no getting away from it. She said, no matter how hard you try, you always have to pay the price. So ask yourself, are you living a life worth paying for? And I've never forgotten that. And I just thought, am I living a life worth paying for? And then I thought, you know what, I need to change things up a bit.
Gosh, that's very powerful. And you obviously did change, because you said that 216 to. That reminds me, there's a Dido song, and it's a bit similar. If my life is for rent and I don't want to buy, then I deserve nothing less. I deserve nothing more. So it's kind of the same kind of thing. It's along those
Mhm.
lines of, would you pay for it? Would you pay for the life that you have? You know,
Yeah,
what would you pay for it? And if you're not going to buy it, if you wouldn't buy it or rent it, then what's, yeah.
yeah.
So
These last 10, 12 weeks, however long it's been, has taught me that life is so precious. There's too many people that I know and know of who haven't come through this at all, and I'm just like, now's the time to stop being silly. Now's the time to live your truth. Honestly, if you want to do it, just do it. And as long as you can justify your reasoning to yourself and yourself only, then go for it. Honestly, go for it. Whatever it is, just do it. Because
I
I can guarantee you, a large portion of the people saying, I hate my job, I hate Mondays, this, that, and the other, will go straight back into it and carry on the same once everything settles, and make no attempt to change. This is a reset. It's been a hard reset. It's been a hard reset. I'm not saying it's been a blessing or anything like that, because there's been too much heartache come through this, but also there is light.
yeah.
And so we've got an opportunity to do something different. We can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results.
No, no.
We really can't.
I actually believe that whatever people have been doing over these past 3 or 4 months is what they love to do, and that's what you should be doing. Because if you haven't been doing what you love to do over these last 3 or 4 months, I don't know why haven't you?
There's a lot of fear. There's still a high level of fear, and you can't think straight with fear.
Oh God.
Fear just burns for everything.
It has. That's one of my. You know, I've written a workshop, being well in uncertain times, and one of the reasons is that this has been such a traumatic time. Go into your houses, lock the doors, don't go out. There's a deadly virus out there. That is a massive trauma to feed people, and then most people have been stuck with a box, being fed fear, and being reprogrammed as well. There's been a lot, you know, when I don't watch TV, I haven't watched television, and I only ever listen to the radio if someone else has got it on in a car, and I'm just sitting there going, I can't do this. They're trying to reprogram my brain every 5 or 6 minutes. They're saying, do this, you know, there's this mantra that's coming out, and the TV, I presume it's the same on the TV and the news and just the papers and everything, and I'm like, this is you know, people are being reprogrammed and fed fear, like in a way that is just phenomenal. So I actually, in terms of mental health, moving forward, I am seriously concerned about the prevalence of PTSD that is going to people, and they're not aware that it's a trauma. They haven't been told that you have undergone trauma and you need to debrief. You need to find an outlet. And that's why I've written this program, because it's about starting that that trauma risk management, that debrief of it. But I just think people should be doing, if they haven't been doing what they love, whether it's your garden, whether it's playing with your children, whether it's picking up your guitar, whether it's artistic, whatever it is. Somebody was saying that, I think I should go out with this type of person, but you know, all the clubs are shut. And I was like, if someone is a DJ, they are DJing online. If that's what you are, that's what you're doing. If that's what you love, that is what you are doing. If you're an artist and you haven't picked up your paints, then I don't understand that. You know, whatever you are doing, and that's why I realise that I like to talk.
But for me, I find writing therapeutic. So I've been writing. So I've just.
So you've been doing what you love, but I think everybody, you know, if they look at themselves and how they've spent this time, either their lives haven't changed much, or they have actually been doing what they love, and they should continue to do that. It will make the world a much happier place. And we've lived without those shops, without the retail. I know there's a lot of online shopping, people have been doing that. But in essence, the biggest thing that I've missed is being with other people, having a coffee, I love festivals, you know, dancing and things like that. I've been doing it in my garden and in my house, but
Yeah.
I haven't been with other people, and I'm a hugger. And
Yes, I've struggled. I'm really struggling with that element. That's the only thing I'm struggling with, is seeing people and not being able to physically touch them. That is driving me bonkers.
and the fear that people have, like I was with someone the other day, and I was like, I'm a hugger. You know, if you want to hug me, I'll hug you. I've got no problem because I've got my own ideas, and they're not conspiracy theories; they're facts at this point. But you know, I'm like, I'll hug. If you want to hug, I'll hug. And but the fear, people are like, oh no, 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 we shouldn't, we can't, we shouldn't, we can't. And I'm like, that's cool too. You know, but as a
Yeah,
hug, to not share that energy with some people
it's
is
difficult.
very.
I never realised how important connection was to me until to these times.
Physical
And
connection as well. That's
physical connection, yeah.
yeah.
So I'm having to stop myself from running up to people and just touching them.
I remember working in a retirement home many, 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 many years ago. And one of the things that I actually took on, I actually did a course in therapeutic hand massage, because I realised that there's all these people who were once married and probably lay next to somebody for 60 years. And then they're put into
Yeah,
homes, and the only touch they get is to dress them, to toilet them. It's functional touch.
yeah.
And that physical deprivation has a real impact on your sense of self, and that. So it's so important. And those are the things that they've separated and divided us in such a way. Hats
Yeah.
off to them. Hats off to them. You know, whatever. You know, hats off to those who decided that this was as part of their plan. And I do believe it's more of a pandemic than a pandemic. For the whole thing, I think it's been quite phenomenal. Um,
It has been phenomenal.
so, what are your plans for the next 3 to 6 months now? Because it is starting to ease up a little.
It's starting to ease up a little. So so I won't be going on a plane anywhere soon. So that's not part of my immediate plans, even though I would love to. I think my for me is to get this book finished that I'm doing.
But can you tell me about the book?
Yeah, it's the Diary of a Quarantined Foster Mother.
I've seen
I'm
excerpts.
actually
I have seen it. I have seen
this
it.
is an expert, yeah, excerpts of it. So I'm doing the front end bit, which people have seen, reviewed, and the other part of it, which is going to be the post lockdown part. I'll probably keep that to myself until I'm ready to show it, release it onto the world. So that'll definitely be sorted. Get college, I do college as well. So I'm doing so many different things at the same time. So it'll be my second year of my counselling course in September, October time. Do that. That would just strengthen the other skills that I've got. So, and just be more outdoors. I want to be outside. I don't want to be inside. I want to be out.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah,
I want to be. I'm gonna be touching people, hugging people, sitting next to people.
I know. Yeah. So how will people get in touch with you if they wanted to get in touch with you? How can people connect? Is there websites? Is there social media?
Yeah. So my website is www.shantadarling.com.
Okay. I'm just going to, because I will post that below. So it's Shanta.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm now kind of like looking for a place. Okay. I can write that down though, or I can get you. Shanta.
Yeah, I can send it to you, and I've got the Shanta Darling is my Facebook page as well.
The Shanta Darling.
Yes.
Okay. I like that.
Those are the best ways to get hold of me.
Okay, so that's Facebook and that's your website.
Yeah.
So just, my final question is, what truth would you like to share?
Okay, so the truth I'd like to share is that you can absolutely 100% be yourself and be happy. It's allowed. I must insist on it.
I love that. I love that. You have
Yeah,
to be yourself. You are yourself. You can be fabulous.
yeah. You don't have to listen to anybody else. In fact, listen to them and just discard the lot and do what you're doing anyway, unless there's something that really resonates with you. Because you can't live your life through other people's opinions and through other people's eyes. And don't let someone else live their life through you. Live your own.
That's something that somebody else living their life, because people can do that and they can actually guide you in ways that are not where even, and because they are utilizing you and using you as a vessel. Yeah, yeah.
And
Shanta,
it's that very first gut feeling that you get, the very first one. That's correct.
okay, thank you. Thank you. So I'd like to say thank you for joining me in the conversation. If you'd just like to hold on 1 second. So I'd like to say thank you to everybody for joining myself and Shanta in conversation. I do hope that you've enjoyed it as much as I believe we have. I know I have. I will post information about where you can contact Shanta to work with Shanta. And there will also be information about how you can contact me and work with me if you wish to. So please subscribe, share, like, all that kind of stuff. And thank you very, very much. And Shanta, thank you. So I'm just going to stop that.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I've loved it.